Welcome again to our more in-depth review of the BenQ XL2420G monitor from BenQ. Again, this is a G-SYNC monitor. I'm going to go into a little bit more details on the usability functions of this monitor. I can't focus a lot on the picture quality, the refresh rates, the adaptive sync, mostly because, well, we're using a camera and the camera is going to have limited ability to pick up what we're talking about. So I am going to go and see if I can describe a couple of different qualms I have with the monitor, as well as some very nice features they've added to it. So I know in our unboxing video I went into how great this stand was. Let me just elaborate a little bit more on how great it is when it's actually put together. As you can see, if I want to, I can lift the monitor right up, no problem, it stays put, no issue. And with a very slight press on the top, it starts to move back down. Can even go lower than my other two monitors I have set. I like things to be uniform, so I'll put it right back where it needs to be. You can see it rotates quite easily from the base. You do have to hold the base in order to do it. But you can see I can turn it all the way over to here if I want to prevent screen jacking from somebody that, I don't know, would be sitting right next to me for no reason. And I can turn it in the other direction just as easily. I do want to focus on a couple of things that I don't like about this monitor. There's a lot to like about it, don't get me wrong. BenQ has done an excellent job. However, these buttons on the side of this monitor are some of the most frustrating buttons I have ever used in any monitor I have ever worked with. As you can see, as I get my finger close, they light up. Now when I push it, nothing's happening. I don't know why. So I have to push it with just the right amount of force and still let off just in time, or else it doesn't work. As you can see, I'm really not getting it to respond every time. Oh, now I'm getting into a rhythm. Alright, but as you're going through the menu, you're trying to get to the menu, it can be very frustrating. As we switch through the menu, we're going to get different picture modes, different picture abilities here. It has a black equalizer, which is really cool. You can use that to adjust the black levels in different games. Obviously it is an LED backlit screen, you're going to get some bleed coming through, but this actually has very nice black levels for an LCD screen. Very impressive. It also has an engine switcher, so you can switch it between G-SYNC and the classic engine. So what the classic engine does, it's basically going to eliminate G-SYNC out of the equation. That's going to give you back about 1 millisecond of response time, which isn't going to be all that noticeable in the grand scheme of things, but it is going to allow you to get a little bit better response in games like Counter-Strike, different first-person shooters. As I turn the monitor, I want you to pay attention to the viewing angle. I'm not going to change the picture or anything like that. You can obviously see that it does get washed out. I'm actually kind of surprised, however. This is a TN panel, and we're getting really what equates to a pretty good viewing angle that you don't typically see on a TN panel. You still see a fairly good picture here. When it's tilted up and down, it's going to make a little bit more of a difference, but still, you're getting what equates to a pretty good viewing angle, everything said and done. Let's get to BenQ's included software. I noticed something that was really frustrating. I updated the software, as I do with any new software that I'm getting, and you can see it shows that my current display is the BenQ XL2420G. It also shows you the Asus VS247 and the other VS247 that I have. Well, here's the problem. You're supposed to have a lot more options with the BenQ displays, and when I first installed this Display Pilot software, I had all of those options. But for some reason, when I updated the program, it took all the options away. So I can now really not do anything to adjust my monitor with this software, which is really frustrating. So when you get the monitor, do not update this software. It's just going to leave you stranded. You're going to have to go back and reinstall the previous version of the software. When the software was working, it was actually really nice. It had different profile settings that you're going to get from different gamers. Those profile settings show up in a screen similar to this. It says FPS for Counter-Strike, FPS 2 for Counter-Strike Source. It has RTS, MOBA, different monitor settings that are going to be tweaked by professional gamers and what they've liked in their profiles for their monitors. It is really cool when it's working, but again, I don't get a benefit from that until I uninstall this and reinstall the older version. To date, I have not been able to get my switch working. As you can see, it does nothing, regardless of how long I hold the buttons. And I've tried a few different things to get it working. I've gone into the DisplayPort program, but again, since I updated it, I'm not able to adjust anything. So that's going to be something I'll have to look at a little bit more. Just understand there are definitely some usability things that BenQ could have made a lot better with this monitor. Let's get into how to use G-SYNC. When I first installed the monitor, I ran into what I consider to be quite a frustrating experience. I went in to set up G-SYNC, clicked on Enable G-SYNC. It tells you to do a couple of things. Your application has to be running in full screen mode. You have to set up the G-SYNC capable display as the primary display. All of that was done. Vertical sync must also be set to G-SYNC, which I also did. Now, I noticed I was getting 60 frames per second in almost every single application that I was launching, which was very frustrating because that obviously shouldn't be happening. So what I ended up doing was I went in to manage my 3D settings, and I went to each specific program that was here on my computer. And you'll notice that there is an option for preferred refresh rate. It's going to reference your primary monitor. Now, here's the issue I ran into. It says use global setting, application controlled. So I went to the global setting, and if you go down, it shows application controlled. This should always be set at highest available when you have G-SYNC enabled. I don't know why this isn't automatic. There's no real reason for Nvidia to have this as two separate, distinct things. It should almost always be highest available, especially because you're running in G-SYNC. You're running with a monitor that is supposed to be able to go past what a lot of applications are going to restrict you to. So I don't really understand why it's showing as application controlled ever. But when I changed it to highest available, and when I click apply, it works when I click apply now. However, when I initially changed this, it did not work. Nothing I was changing in my global settings was working. I had to reinstall all of my drivers in order to get this to work. So obviously Nvidia is doing some great work with their drivers, a lot of forward thinking with the things they're making available. However, you'll probably want to do a fresh install of your drivers when you install the graphics cards or when you install the BenQ XL2420G monitor. Something you're not going to be able to see in that video, but definitely shows up when you're looking at the monitor in person, the crisp nature of all of the icons on the screen. It's really surprising how much better this looks than the other two Asus monitors that I have on my desktop. It really does stand out. You can see that it has literally no flicker. It does have the flicker-free technology that's built into BenQ's monitors, and it's a pleasure to look at. It doesn't strain your eyes. And again, it's kind of surprising going back to a 60 Hz monitor and recognizing how much it does strain your eyes to look at something like that. I want to display one other feature of this monitor, which is the blue light reduction. And if we go into the settings, again, if they want to work as far as the buttons are concerned, and we turn up the blue light reduction, you're going to notice the image on the screen losing basically all of its blue light. Not all of it, but a lot of it. You can see it's going to look very yellow. It's going to be very similar to putting on a pair of gunner glasses. It's going to do the same thing. It drops a lot of those blue rays coming out of the screen, so you don't have to wear your gunner glasses or something similar. Typically, I don't leave it on because I'm not gaming for more than a couple of hours at a time, and so it's really not that big of a concern for me. But I know a lot of people that, you know, when they're doing raids in World of Warcraft, when they're doing rank up runs in different games, whatever it may be, obviously they want to have some blue light reduction so that their eyes don't strain quite as much. So again, it is a nice feature. We do definitely appreciate it, and it may be best to keep it at 1 or 2 just to kind of get a little bit of reduction in that blue light, but still maintain some very good picture fidelity. As you can notice, the colors on this portion of the video are very well represented. The camera's not going to pick up as many colors or as vibrantly as the monitor will itself. Obviously, there's not a good way to really get that across to somebody watching through YouTube. I'm going to do my best to kind of give you guys an idea of how the colors look, how how the backlight bleed is. If you notice on the edge here of the screen, if you follow the mouse, there is some backlight bleed right here along the edges, and it's going to get more pronounced here in just a moment. So as you can see, some backlight bleed on the bottom, on the sides, just kind of all around the map. Overall, it is a fairly good color spectrum. You're going to get really good representations. Even in the darker areas, the black areas, things like that, you're going to get very good black levels. There is going to be some bleed through, but you can't really avoid that, again, with a monitor that's running with an LED backlight. You can see here some of the darker areas show through very well. The brightness is set pretty low on this, not extremely low, but it's 75. That allows it to have a little bit less backlight bleed and still give us a good representation of colors. As you can see, even on the desktop background, there is this line on the top. If I go like that, you don't see the same line. It's only on the top and on the sides. That's going to be your LED bleed. Again, LEDs can't really avoid this because they have to be lit up somehow. And it is an edge-lit LED screen. Thanks again for joining us for our more in-depth analysis and review of the BenQ XL2420G monitor. Go ahead and check out our unboxing video of the same monitor. You can see a link in the description, and that's going to go into a little bit more detail about putting the monitor together, the packaging that's included, all of that comes with it. Make sure to check back to our channel for more reviews, more unboxings, different gadgets, devices, phones, computers, graphic cards, you name it. We're going to be taking it apart, we're going to be looking into it and telling you guys the unbiased review of the goods and the bads. Go ahead and like our video if you like it, comment, leave us a question, something we should do better, a suggestion, whatever the case may be, and make sure you subscribe if you like our videos. If you're looking to purchase the monitor, go ahead and click the link in the description. It's going to take you directly to Amazon. If you purchase from that link, it goes towards supporting us, allowing us to make additional reviews and videos similar to this. We appreciate your support. We'll see you next time.